Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Writers Corner live show. We are, in fact, on episode number 33. 83. I've transposed my numbers there a little bit. We
I know,
connect
I was
authors from around the world to each other and to their readers. I know, 38. No, it's 83. And so on this show, you will meet both seasoned as well as new and aspiring authors. And today's special guest is no exception. It's Amanda Robertson, author of Stories of Becoming Myself. And we're going to be talking a little bit about creating a world of happy and healthy people, as well as a healthy planet. So don't go away. We will be right back. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Brigitte Lambanda. I'm passionate about responsible social media advocacy, and my co-host is Mary Elizabeth Jackson. Mary is the award-winning author of the children's Poolicious book series, and she's just released her third book. So check it out on www.maryejackson.com. Mary is also a special needs and disabilities advocate, and she lives in Nashville in the USA. I'm in Cape Town in South Africa, so let us know where you're joining us from. Mary, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here today, and happy that we're on the 83rd episode. This has been an exciting journey, and we've met so many authors, and they all have different stories, they all have different journeys, they all have different inspirations, but the commonality between everybody, even us, is that we all have a story inside of us. So some choose to tell it, some choose to keep it locked up inside. So we're excited to have Amanda on, and I'm excited about having her on because her book, she's part of a book, and so it's a little bit different than kind of a story that we've had on before. So I'm excited to have her talk about it and explain how it all came about, and the other people that are involved in the project as well.
Oh, absolutely. So Amanda is a former professional ballroom dancer, a fitness instructor. And so movement and exercise has always been part of her life. She says she studied and taught health and wellness and saw the impact of how a healthy lifestyle can have major health benefits. But she also saw the flip side, the consequences due to a lack of a healthy lifestyle. And so she focuses on inspiring others towards feeling healthy, looking healthy, and being healthy. Shall we invite her on the show and hear more about her story?
Yes, looking forward to it.
Hey,
Did you like that intro?
very nice. Great.
Jenny does such an amazing job on the intros for authors. It's a little surprise that she does for them. So it's really awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you. Well, good.
Yeah, so we're excited to have you here.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here. It's great. Thank you for inviting me.
So I'm going to start off by asking, is this your first book that's published or that you've been a part of?
Yes to both of those. So I don't actually really consider myself an author. I just happen to take part in this book, and it's actually a compilation of 17 different women and each woman has their own chapter and goes through their own life story. So it's, I did not know these women beforehand, but they're all 50 years and older. The actual first name of it was called Milestones. So then they changed it to Stories of Becoming Myself. But it was done. It was conceived by two best-selling authors, Betsy Chase and Kate Montana. So, this is really, you could say I'm a beginner author. Let me put it that way. So
that's really awesome. And well, you and I met. We'll talk. We'll just kind of talk about that for a second. We met at a local restaurant here in town, which is really funny. And it's I guess one of our more fine dining establishments here. We don't have many of them, but this one's really kind of unique and it's really cute inside. So the tables are very close to each other. And so there's no way that you can't end up talking to the people next to you and looking at the food they're eating and going, oh my gosh, that's so good. What are you eating? And so I had my children's book and I was talking to the owner because he's going to put it there in the restaurant. And so then that's how our conversation started. And it's really cool that we live in the same city. And I love your journey about being a part of a book and other women, because all of us have journeys. And I often think about that word, becoming myself, the journey to becoming myself. And I don't know that we really think about that stuff until, we don't really think about it in our 20s or 30s because we're still living and growing. But certainly I think once we reach that milestone of 50 and we're in that place that's so different than 20s and 30s and 40s, we do think about the journey to becoming who we are at this point in our lives, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, and we don't like it or we love it. It doesn't matter. It's still a journey, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm just going to read a short description that's actually in the book. It says, chronicling their breakthroughs, overcoming lack, abuse, intense religious programming, and every kind of self-imposed limitation you can imagine, blossoming into the richness of their true being and life expression. A book to savor and draw courage from. Stories of Becoming Myself is a celebration of women, her endurance, her daring and determination, and most of all, her love. So that's the actual description that they have on the book. So I just wanted to read that to you. So everyone is very unique, and they're from the women are from all over the world, and it's on Amazon, and so it just came out a few weeks ago. So
hot off the presses, as they say.
Yeah.
So what was your journey as a first-time author like? What did that look like for you? Was it something that you found was easy to embrace? Did you experience writer's block? Talk us a little bit about through your, a lot of people want to become an author. Talk us about through your journey a little bit. How did that feel for you?
Okay, well, my journey might be quite different than other people's journey, but actually, someone that I knew from when I was living in Los Angeles, I didn't even know her that well, but we connected on Facebook, on social media, and she reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be part of this book. She saw my presence online and thought that I would be a good person to be part of the book. I would say it was a very simple process. They just contacted me and told me what they wanted, and I did it. They kind of helped with not rewriting it, but
editing
a little bit. And we did that a few times, and honestly, that was it pretty much. So I didn't find it difficult I didn't have any blocks really or anything. She maybe once in a while she asked a few more questions that provoked me to add to it and write more. But that was it. Pretty straightforward.
That sounds painless.
Yeah. Well, I think it's easy when you kind of write about yourself. Well, I would think, because you already know yourself and what you're writing. It's not like you have to imagine it and make it up, because it is what it is.
Right. Absolutely. That's so cool.
So you pretty much were writing about something you were very passionate about to start off with, which is health and wellness. How did you enter that space of health and wellness, and why is it such an important part of your life?
Yeah, I think it always has been. My mom, was into eating healthy organic foods and organic gardening, way before it was popular, became a thing. That was back in the 60s. And so I had influence there. She always ate healthy. And so my story, I'll just get to it. I was born basically unhealthy because I was born with a hole in my heart. And that's not actually very uncommon, but usually the heart will close up in the first few years of life, but mine didn't. So I had to have open heart surgery, and that was back in 1970 when, it was still fairly new. I was 5 years old, but thankfully I went to Stanford University and got my operation there, and it went very well. And honestly, ever since then, I've had no physical issues whatsoever. However, it did make an impact on me emotionally, and that was the thing. When I was 2 and 4 years old, I had what's called heart catheterizations, where they stick a tube up your vein at the top of your leg and up towards your heart, so they can kind of see what's going on inside. Now that was like the most traumatic for me because I was not put to sleep. I was awake while they were doing this. And just the memories I have of it, I think were the most impactful for me, because I'll just tell you what I experienced. I experienced laying on a very hard table with big equipment all around me. They had to bring my mother out of the room. She couldn't be there. And then the doctors were all around me. This was just for the heart catheterizations. And they were telling me, you got to stay still. Don't move. Otherwise, complications could be happening. And I kind of felt like it was a life or death situation, like I just had to freeze up. And otherwise I'd be hurt somehow, danger. So that is what affected me, because the actual heart surgery, they put me to sleep. I don't even remember it. All I remember was the good stuff, being treated nicely after the surgery and all of that. So anyways, that impact that I had from that, I think has affected me my whole life.
Sure.
The heart catheterization. So it's like a lot of times growing up, first of all, I was an introvert. And so in social situations, if ever I felt like anybody was, bigger than me or louder than me or stronger than me or even like a male authority figure or whatever, I felt uncomfortable. And I almost felt like that same freezing sensation, like, oh my God, I got to freeze up, danger. And so through my childhood, I think and onward, I felt that. Is like that trigger was always coming back to me during life. So, yeah, I think that was the most traumatic part, and that's what I put in the chapter there in the book, and other things. But yeah, how
it's so cool.
About my life. But then I also talk about how I have overcome it throughout the years, and basically that was done through expressing myself through dancing and acting. And I did some baton twirling when I was much younger, but it was those things that really made me feel like I was in a safe environment and that I could, express myself.
You found an outlet.
Yeah, and that was so important. And in fact, so when I grew up in the 70s in California, it was very kind of freewheeling, as you might say. And it wasn't very structured where I lived. In fact, that was kind of the theme of the area was, let your kids do whatever you want. There was no structure, but I kind of innately felt like, okay, I need structure. So I do this type of dancing that's very structured, international style of Latin American and ballroom dancing, which is very technical. And anyways, I did that for years. And I was able to express myself through that. So anyways, that helped me a lot. And then, eventually I moved on to other things. I into fitness, and then health and nutrition is what I really specifically excel in right now. So yeah, my mission is to just to help women in general. I mean, right now it's just such an amazing time. I mean, coming out of this pandemic, we've been through, or at least it started, the Me Too movement started, but now, coming out of this pandemic, especially for people working from home, more women entrepreneurs, it's just a really, really exciting time. And so I'm working with a lot of women entrepreneurs with what I do with a home-based business that's international. So I've been pleasantly glad to be able to work with women like in Europe and different countries as well. We're just on a mission to impact world health physically and financially, because if the financial is not put in place, there's just a lot of stress. And that's what I experienced when I was living in Los Angeles myself. Was I had a crisis, a financial crisis in myself. That was around 2008, actually. It actually really had nothing to do with the downfall in the economy. It was just me personally. I was having issues at that point. And so I was so fortunate to meet Philip, who is my other significant half now. And we've been together for 16 years, but he introduced me to a health and wellness company. And we've just been excelling ever since then. And I don't know if you've heard of a book called The Wellness Revolution or The Perfect Storm by Paul Zane Pilsner. He's a famous author and economist, but he writes about the perfect storm, which is wellness, home-based business, and technology, and how they all come together. And it's just an amazing time for all of that, especially now. I mean, it has been the last 10, 20 years, but even more so now. So it's all an interesting journey, but it is very exciting. And
it is. And, I think we've been right now, we have been catapulted forward, just hugely forward into a time period that no one, I mean, maybe some people saw it coming at some point, but the majority of us didn't see it coming, or we hoped it would never happen. It's in a book that somebody wrote. It's in a movie that's out there, and people, when you write, one of the great things about writing is there are no boundaries and no limitations to what you think, say, and do in a book or a movie script or a play or whatever that has to do with that. So, I think we're all, the beauty of it is we're all going through this together. It is not just in one area where people have to kind of put all their focus or not pay attention to that because, well, it's not happening to me, so I don't need to do anything about it or help. But it's happening to all of us in various forms. So there is a call for help in so many different areas. Like I've started a series with women about parenting through this time period, because so many mothers, grandparents, uncles, aunts, teenagers even, who have had to pick up the pieces, obviously, in some families, if a parent is down with COVID. But whoever the caregivers are, the challenge right now is exponentially something that we never imagined we would go through as a whole country, a planet, excuse me. So like, I know my concern and one of my focuses has been my older kids, but nobody's talking a lot about it. So, there's a real purpose for what you're doing right now, Amanda, and it's very needed because we need to take care of ourselves even more now than we ever did before, right?
Yes. And we've seen it throughout the last decades, the trend of, the way people take care of themselves in this country and even on the planet, as far as, actually it really comes down to the soil where our plants are being grown, because what's happening is we're putting so many pesticides we're spraying so much pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all every kind of side, which basically means death, on our soils and on our plants. And what it does is it actually kills the good bacteria in the soil, the microorganisms, and even the earthworms that are supposed to be there, because what they do is they break down the rocks and all the minerals in there. They break them down so that they can actually be uptaken by the plant. But because the earthworms are gone and the good bacteria is gone and so forth, the minerals can't be broken down. They can't be uptaken by the plant, right? And so the plant doesn't have the nutrition in it that we should be consuming, yet as humans, we're consuming them, and there's like very little nutrition, and in many cases, completely bankrupt of nutrition. And we just keep eating that type of food. And yeah, we might feel like we have a full stomach, but it's not really doing anything for us health-wise. And that's why so what's really interesting, I'll just throw this out there, is in 1936, gosh, it's almost 100 years ago now, there was a government document written that said, if we don't change our farming practices, there's going to be a major health crisis in this country. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't change the farming practices. So anyways, if anything, it's gotten worse over time. So it's a sad state. But the good news is if you get educated and you look, you can actually find ways of overcoming that situation, at least individually, and through different companies that offer different solutions. So that's what I'm a big proponent of. We shouldn't have to take supplementation. It wasn't, obviously God didn't design it that way, but unfortunately we kind of ruined the Garden of Eden, and now unfortunately we have to take good quality supplementation to actually give us that full spectrum holistic nutrition that we were getting, say, 100, 200 years ago. So yeah, it's pretty interesting the way things have evolved. But yeah,
and sad.
It is sad because it's affecting our immune system, which doesn't help then when you have a pandemic like this, right? Because you want to have a strong immune system. I'm really into preventative ways, and healthy lifestyle is huge for me because that can have a huge impact on your quality of life, how you age, your energy, how productive you are in life, your stress levels, your hormone levels, brain chemistry, blood sugar. So many things. It affects everything. But it is fascinating.
So many.
In health and the human body, it is fascinating, and it's something, you can really delve into and learn a lot about.
So Stories of Becoming Myself. Who is your target market for that book?
Well, I think it's women over age 50, or people that want to learn about women over age 50. I think it's actually good for younger women too, to kind of see what they might want to expect as they get older and learn from the older women. I think that's definitely true also, but definitely women of most every age. But I think it's good for other older women to learn what other women have been through and what their life experience has been as well. Everyone's so different, so it's good to have a good variety of women to read about.
It's like visiting the wise women.
I think that's the nice thing, that it's a collection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, because especially, people have different perspectives from depending on where you live and how you were brought up and what you went through in your family dynamic and all of that type of thing. It can just make the biggest difference in your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Amanda, how can people connect with you and how can they get a copy of Stories of Becoming Myself?
Well, the book is available on Amazon and should be pretty easy to find. As far as getting in touch with me, I honestly, the best way is texting me or messaging me or calling me. So can I leave my texting number here?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes. So it's actually a Beverly Hills number because I used to live there. So it's 310-770-0011. A very unique number. 310-770-0011. And that's the best way. Just text me or call me. But I am on Facebook, Amanda Robinson, and I love to connect with people. And that's what I do is all about now, is just learning how to really connect with people, opening up and creating friendships. I mean, now that's a lot of really honestly what I do is reaching out to other women and connecting and building relationships and friendships no matter where they are in the world. And if there's an opportunity for us to work together, then that's awesome. But social media, I think we're all getting used to it. And I got to say, no matter what age you are, it's changing constantly. And all of us need to keep up with it all the time. So it doesn't really matter what age you are at this point. It keeps changing. So you got to keep up with it. But yeah, so I hope that, and let me leave my email address too, just in case for some reason you didn't get my phone number. It's the word healthy, because that's what I'm about. Healthy Amanda 327@gmail.com. Healthy Amanda 327@gmail.com. So I look forward to hearing from anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, because you have a lot to offer and you have wisdom and you have life experience. And, when a person, a human being goes through traumatic experiences like that at that early age, so much of our entire life is defined between the age of newborn to 7. That does stick with you. It goes very deep ingrained. And for some who have experienced trauma, huge traumas, abuse, things like that, sometimes those pathways are never, really gotten to clear up in a human being when it happens when a child is so young. So it's very mindfulness, you've been very mindful in your life and very aware for a human being to notice and see when those things happened in your life and how that it affected you so that you could react from a more conscious place and not an unconscious place. And
Yeah,
that's very good for you.
definitely.
And I liked that you internally felt you needed structure. Some of us are born with those internal instincts and then some are not, and it just may be the way people are, I don't know, or just the environment that you're in. You are right. Children, even as much as they push and give us parents and caregivers a hard time, definitely have to have structure in order to know, okay, where are my boundaries here? How far can I get close to the cliff before I'm going to fall off? And so I think it's brilliant that you had that instinct inside, okay, this is great. This is a wonderful party, but I do need some structure. I had a lot of freedom growing up too, but I always knew I needed to come home or I needed to do this, or, I had that responsibility thing inside me and all that ethical, this is right and this is wrong, and not really trying to push those limits.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I have an older brother and sister, and it's interesting how just a few years can make a difference because they really got caught up in the whole unstructured lifestyle that was where I grew up, and I came in a few years later, and I was just I was so determined to have structure. I just was demanding almost with my mom. I got to go to these lessons and I got to do this, and it was totally night and day between me and my brother and my sister, how we ended up living our lives. So unfortunately, they got caught up in you know, there was smoking and drugs and all this kind of stuff going on then, but I always had this instinct to just like stay away from that. So I never even didn't seem appealing to me at all. My big thing has always been personal growth. The whole time. So yeah, it's interesting. And one last thing that I realized about myself is that I'm what's called a selective introvert. Okay, so because I'm normally an introvert, but because of the dancing and the acting and all that stuff that I did, and teaching and so forth, I can come out of my shell, so to speak, when I'm, you know, presenting or in the spotlight. You know, I'm able to do that, but normally I'm not. So it's kind of like a little bit of both nowadays. You know, I'm introverted when I'm generally out and about, but I can be very big when I'm performing. So anyways, that's something I learned about myself along the way, which is interesting. So yeah.
It is interesting how we grow as we go through life. Amanda, thank you so much for sharing your story. It was great to learn a little bit more about you and your life journey. And thank you for sharing your story through your book. And I hope that everyone watching will go out and have a look at it, and certainly reach out and connect with you. So thank you very, very much. And thank you to our viewers on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook for joining us. And we'll see you again next week.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for being here. See you later. Bye.
Okay. Take care. Bye.